Hello and happy day. I realize I started all my videos with this, so I think I just have to continue the trend so people know who they're talking to. June's stat from MLS just came out, which is a compilation of really nerdy things that pretty diligent people follow closely to understand what's going on in the market. I love this episode of Stat because it's cool. It always tells us, the market of the moment because it goes a month at a time. But what's really great about the June one is it's telling us the wrap up of the first half of the year. Now, there's a couple of things that I found super interesting that I wanted to share. Number one, inventory is increasing. So forever people have been saying, when is it going to shift? When is it going to do whatever? It's likely that we are starting the shift. Now, a shift isn't like earth-shattering. Sometimes it can be, and sometimes it just means a change from how things were. Right now, it appears to be a change from how things were. Inventory in the month of June was double what it was in the month of March. We are seeing a steady increase in the inventory available to buyers, which is excellent. So for our buyers, that's great news. For our sellers, it's really interesting to think about because there's a lot of people kind of sitting on their hands and waiting for the right time to do something. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't say this is the right time. But when you think critically about the things that I'm saying, what you might start to realize is that it could be the right time. Now, the factors that we would consider are that as inventory increases, that means our speed to selling and maximizing top dollar will likely decrease. Now, I don't mean instantly and immediately, but I do mean there should be a cause and effect there, right? As there's more listing competition, and if demand cools at all, then that can shift things a little bit. It also means that on the buy side, there's more options available to you. So it's kind of that sweet spot to see more properties available and also maximize your dollar. Awesome. Let me switch back to my notes so I can make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So, cool. Why is inventory low? I don't think I've shared this before. The main reason inventory is so low, well, there's many reasons. A big reason people don't take into consideration are how many houses were not built between 2010 and 2020. So part of that is supply and demand. They weren't needed as much. But the other part is so many builders went bankrupt or were restructuring or whatever the case was. They just weren't building. So if you take into consideration how many houses weren't built in 2010, 11, 12, 13, and add those all up, that's part of why we have such a big inventory shortage today. Now, since builders aren't going to build a decade worth of missing homes today, that would imply that we're likely to continue to see a demand or a supply issue unless demand is greatly affected, right? I don't know, if the Fed changed interest rates tomorrow to 8%, that would drastically change some things. But aside from some big monumental thing that happens, the inventory won't fluctuate overnight. The third thing I really want you to know right now is that while prices have increased significantly compared to average over the last 6 months, what we've found is that about 99% of the time in Arizona, the first 6 months of the year is where we actually see appreciation happen. That's where the majority of our growth occurs because the second half of the year, while real estate still comes and goes very much, the price appreciation just doesn't happen at the same pace. For the most part, pricing stays a lot more consistent the second half of the year. So again, leading back to that, for buyers, this isn't earth-shattering. It just means you're going to have more inventory to choose from, and hopefully you won't continue to feel that upward pressure on pricing. But for sellers, that's part of what I'm talking about when I say this could be the sweet spot because there's 3 years, I think it was out of the last 30, where we've seen appreciation the second half of the year. But that means 27 other years where we didn't. So the odds of your house increasing greatly in value over the next 6 months are lower. And inventory is increasing. And so that kind of gets you into that sweet spot we were talking about. A couple other fun facts. Foreclosures and short sales are basically at zero. People have so much equity in their houses that that's not really a solution that they need to seek. The other things I want you to know is that there are unchanged factors. Houses are still moving quickly. Now, of course, that takes time as our inventory increases for the home sales to slow down. But as of now, they are still moving quickly. So if you're a buyer watching this, you should continue with your pace. You shouldn't assume that you have more time to shop or whatever the case is. And I can attest for our buyers, anybody shopping in a normal price range, let's call that $250,000 to $1.4 million, those sell, the good ones that are priced right and look beautiful sell the first weekend on the market with multiple offers. So that's my fun recap for the first half of our year here in 2021 as far as our Arizona, more specifically Greater Phoenix metro market is concerned. And of course, if there's any questions, let me know. This is really here, this isn't headline stuff, right? Well, I mean, I suppose you could take any of this and make it a headline, however you wanted to spin it, but this is just presenting facts. Whether now makes sense to buy or sell real estate or 10 years from now, I'm not going anywhere. So it's really just meant to educate you that way. If you ever have something that you need to dig into or kind of mull your mind around, I'm here for you. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.